Are you guys ready to get into it?
Yeah.
Well then, let's get into it. Okay, so we all have our favorite celebrities and influencers, don't we? Yes, I know I do. I like Rhett and Link, Good Mythical Morning. Who else is there? Tom Holland, okay. What about you guys? Who you got? No one likes anybody. Harry Styles, there we go.
Tori Kelly.
Tori Kelly. I know Brinley's. We all know Brinley's, right? Okay, listen. Chances are, if you like them, someone else likes them too. And if enough people like them, enough people follow them, they become verified. Alright, so that's what the topic of the sermon is going to be tonight, alright? And while it's not really a reward, social media platforms reward influencers with a little blue check mark to verify that they are who they say they are. Now tonight, I am going to pull two things out of that illustration. Alright, so are you guys ready for number one? That's
Yeah.
number one. Even if you don't have a little blue check mark besides your Instagram handle or your TikTok handle, you have influence. Whether it's 1 million people, 100 people, or even just one person, you have influence and the ability to impact a person's life. Proverbs 27:1. Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. You have the power to build up the people in your life. You have the ability to correct them and to push them to be better. And if each of us can influence each other in a positive way, that verse becomes truth in our lives, okay? It's going to be this big circle of iron sharpening iron, okay? But just as you can sharpen each other to become better, we can also make each other's blade dull. 1 Corinthians 15:33 cannot be any clearer. You guys ready for this? Here we go. Listen. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. And while we all have the ability to influence, we also have the ability to be influenced. And bad company corrupts good character. Now, if you're hanging out with someone and you want to be friends with them, you will probably lie to yourself about their influence in your life. You will make excuses for their behavior. You'll make excuses for their words. You'll make excuses for their actions. Right? And you will become defensive anytime someone tries to offer you the truth about that person. Alright? So now listen, I want y'all to hear my words. What I'm saying right now could be falling on deaf ears because you are so defensive and you want to just push aside any actual truth about a person, okay? But what are the closest people in your life feeding into your heart, into your mind, and into your soul? Is their behavior, words, and actions reflective of the behaviors, words, and actions that God has? And will what they do help you or will they harm you? Our minds always go to the biggest bad things first, right? Sex, alcohol, drugs. Oh my gosh. And listen, if your friends are doing that, those are not your friends. Those are people being used by Satan to pull you away from God. Okay? They are not your friends. Whether they're good to you or not, they're not your friends. Okay? Now, what we're going to focus on tonight is the little things that pull you away from God. They might not seem like such a big deal, but in the long run, they will bring spiritual death. Now, this is not an exhaustive list, okay? I didn't want to spend all week long listing out every single bad thing that every single person could do, right? And so, these are just off the top of my head, the first 3 things that I thought of that were like, you know what? I think we need to talk about this, okay? And so, while I go through this list, I want you to examine your own life and see if you're the someone who is influencing people in your life to do the same thing, right? Because you always want to place blame on somebody else. But maybe it's you. Maybe it's you. And if so, you need to be willing to make the change. Number 1, are y'all ready for it?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's going to be good tonight. What is on their phone? When they are scrolling through Instagram, do they stop and zoom in and then show everybody in the group around them? Guys, now that could be interpreted in different ways, but guys, God created women to be beautiful, and they are, okay? But He did not create women for you to have lustful thoughts about their bodies. And ladies, this applies to you too as well, okay? He might be cute and his arms might be bigger than my face. And you want to drool. That's right, Johnny's got the big body Scotty over here, okay? And you might want to drool over their shirtless pictures. And my flesh wants to say that that's okay for you to do. My flesh wants to be like, you know what? It's okay to say, dang, that girl is hot, right? Because I've struggled with myself, and so I wanted to make excuses for it. But time after time, our brains become desensitized, and it's almost like our brains rewire themselves. And so whether you believe me here tonight or not, the fact is a fact, that after a while, those seeds begin to grow in your mind. And while it can and will harm you in your singleness, it will destroy your togetherness with someone. It will destroy togetherness. It will destroy relationships. It will destroy marriages. And so pull those dry weeds out of your life now while you can. Because listen, this is important. Y'all need to listen. What you do in public, you do 10 times worse in private. Is that true for you in your life? And if you're hanging around with your friends and lusting over an attractive man or woman on a social media platform, what are you doing when you're alone? What are you looking at in your private Google tab? What secret does the TikTok algorithm know about you and then in turn gives you a feed full of it? Okay? What you look at, TikTok knows and they go, he likes that, she likes that, let me give them a whole feed for it, okay? What's on your explore page on Instagram? What's on it? You know, it's uncomfortable and we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to think about it. But what you don't fix in your singleness will spread like wildfire in your togetherness. And so make it a matter of prayer, a matter of accountability. There will be zero judgment from me, okay? There will be zero judgment from the leaders in the back, and there hopefully will be zero judgment from your parents, okay? So find someone that you can talk to, someone that will not be scared to pull those dry weeds out from your life with you, someone that's not afraid to correct you, and get rid of those toxic friendships that influence you to continue to lust. Matthew 5:28. But I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart. Now, ladies, this can apply to you too, okay? These verses confirm how serious this issue is. If you thought about it, you've already committed the act, okay? And so you need to ask for forgiveness and make a change. Get before God, okay? Number 2, moving on, right? We're going through it, aren't we? What are your friends watching? And what are they listening to? And let's not act like we don't watch and listen to it too. Okay, man, this still gets me. So I was going through the list, and the first, like I said, it was the first 3 things that came to my mind. I don't think it was even for you guys. It was for me too, okay? Because I want to watch the most popular TV show. I want to listen to the new song. But what kind of trash am I allowing into my mind? God hears what we laugh at. And that dirty TikTok that your friend showed you broke God's heart. It broke God's heart. And maybe it even made you feel a little bit uncomfortable because you know in your heart that it was wrong. But because you were uncomfortable, the only response that you had was to laugh. Because you didn't know what else to do. And so I'm going to let you in on a little secret, okay? A laugh encourages future behavior. It shows that you approved of what was said and that you want more of it. Even if you didn't, the laugh told that person that you wanted more. God sees what you laugh at. What shows are you watching? What sex scenes are you putting in front of your face? What vulgar words are filling your mind? Society tells us that this thought process is outdated, and it somehow proves that Christians are stuffy and boring, and we need to, and we're not going to continue to win people to Jesus if we don't put our walls down, if we don't lower our standard so that people can make it to Jesus more accessibly. But let me tell you something. Philippians 4:6-9 says, don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all that He has done. Then you will experience God's peace. His peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true. This is what we need to think about as Christians. What is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about the things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Who lines up with every single one of those words? God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit. Think about Him. Verse 9, keep putting into practice all you learned and received from me, everything you heard from me and saw me doing. Then the God of peace will be with you. If we are serious about our belief of Jesus and we want to follow Him with our whole hearts, the Bible is clear about these things. We need to throw off the things of this world, and that includes what we watch and what we listen to. Guys, I know it is not easy because I also want to listen to the latest and greatest and most popular shows, movies, and music. And so I get it. But we have to start with the effort and take the initiative and be strong enough to make the decision to turn it off. We need to be strong enough to make the decision to say, no, we are not going to allow this. 1 John 2:15. Do not love the world or the things of this world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Do you get that? Right? That's important. We have got to grasp that. I'm begging you, please. What is influencing you, and who are you influencing? Another thing, the third thing that we are to be watchful for is what words are coming out of your friends' mouths. Are they used to encourage and build up, or are they used to tear someone down? Proverbs 18:21. The tongue can bring death or life. Those who love to talk will reap the consequences. The tongue can bring death or life. Those who love to talk will reap the consequences. The tongue can bring death or life. Those who love to talk will reap the consequences. Words have weight, and Satan hears every single one of them. Every single breath that you breathe, Satan knows about it. And if you tell someone that you can't do something because you suck, guess what Satan does? Satan smiles. If unwholesome words come out of your mouth, guess what Satan does? Satan smiles. If you speak badly about someone that you're supposed to love because we're Christians, guess what Satan does? Satan smiles.
That's good.
He wants nothing more than for you to be discouraged. He loves when you hate on yourself. He wants nothing more than for you to reflect Jesus poorly to the people in this room and the people in school and the people in the community. And he wants nothing more than for you to do his work for him. He loves it when hate flies out of your mouth. Because even if the person that you're talking about never hears a word about what you said about them, hate is still what's in your heart. Your tongue, your voice, and your words has the power to bring death. And maybe not even for the person that you're talking about, but the hate is in you. It's in your heart, not theirs. You can say whatever you want about them, right? But it's in your heart, and hate brings death. Death to your confidence, death to your spiritual walk, and death to the people in your life. And your friends have that same power, so be cautious of who you allow to speak in your life. But let us not forget, okay, there is hope, right? We also have the power to bring life. Hype yourselves up, you guys. Listen, you can't rely on anybody else to tell you how good you are, all right? I'm going to try my best. You guys are freaking amazing. I love you guys. Every single one of you guys have such a great purpose, and you have such a great plan for your lives. God did that since before you were born. I know that. Your parents know that. But sometimes you guys forget it, don't you? You guys are so amazing. You guys are perfectly made, all right? But you can't rely on me to tell you. You have got to hype yourselves up. Some argue that positive thinking is not biblical, and to some extent it's not. However, you will either have a positive thought process or you will have a negative thought process. And so I ask you, I beg you to choose to have the positive thought process. Speak positive truths about yourself to guard from the attacks of the enemy. Speak positive things about your friends and your family. Give love and kindness to them through your words and through your actions. Influence your own thoughts, okay? We're talking about influencing others. Influence yourself, your own thoughts, to be careful and be careful who you allow to influence you. Okay, so we know that social media platforms reward influencers with a little blue check mark to verify who they are. We know this, okay? And going back to the beginning of my message, I wanted to bring two things out of that illustration, right? So that was number one, okay? Number one was to take a look at who is influencing you, what's influencing you, and who are you influencing. And we've talked all night long about influences. But the second thing I wanted to bring out goes along with what I said in our last point. The words and thoughts that we speak about ourselves can be so harmful to our confidence and how we go about living our lives. But just like Instagram verifies Justin Bieber and Kim Kardashian, whoever, with a little blue check mark, God has also placed a figurative blue check mark on who you are. His word verifies who you are. Our identity, our worth comes from Him and Him alone. His thoughts about us are the high standard. His thoughts about us confirm that no matter what someone else thinks about us, no matter what we think about ourselves, the truth is that when we accept Jesus into our lives, we are brought back into His family. Hallelujah! We are chosen. We are valuable. We are powerful. We are victorious. We are special. We have authority. We are made new. We are healed. And in Him, and only in Him, we are whole. You guys are not looking. Some of you are, but the ones of you that are not, look, okay? Our identity is found in Jesus and Jesus alone. Your identity is not found in who you love. Your identity is not found in what gender you're attracted to. Your identity is not found in culture. Your identity is not found in what age you are, how much you have in your wallet. Your identity is not found in what you think about yourself, and it sure as heck is not found in what other people think about you. If you can wrap your minds around that and truly accept that fact, chains will begin to break in your life, okay? And you will be set free from the bondage that has kept that part of you so restricted. That little 4-year-old self that had no care in the world will be able to come back out again. But because of the words and the thoughts that you think about yourself, and the words and thoughts that other people have thought about you, and the words and the thoughts that the enemy has convinced you that you are, you have been so much bondage. I can't even say what I'm saying, but it's all right, right? You've been in bondage, okay? And so we need to be able to influence ourselves because of who God has made us to be. You are loved and you have influence. And there are people in this room right now that you are influencing, okay? It might be one person, but someone in this room is looking at you. Does that make sense? Every person in this room is looking at somebody going, man, I wish I could be that person. Someone, whether you think it or not. I promise you that, okay? And so, how are you going to steward that blessing intentionally and wisely? Once we realize what our identity is, who it's in, it will then become easier to filter our influences and throw away the excess so that we can be better influences for Jesus. It's your responsibility to lead your brothers and sisters closer to Christ. Let me say it again. It is your responsibility to lead your brothers and sisters, everybody in this room, okay, closer to Christ.